Okay.
I'm not pronouncing one person's name.
It is not only our right, but our duty to rule India. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wait! Before we get started on this film, please do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button right at the bottom. It really will help us out, all right? This was recommended to us from some of our people in the comments where we did RRR and Bahubali. This follows a man from the year 1919 to the year 1940. Based on true events. He wanted to start a revolution because of a huge massacre that happened in
It was in Punjab, India.
yes. But yeah, this is a film that talks about revolutions come up and get these British people out of my city. And we have had talks about the British in the previous film of RRR, but I kind of think when you're comparing that film to this film, that one's more fantasized, even though they are representing their culture to the fullest, especially by the end. They're representing their people, the revolutionaries. This one seems like this is gritty and down to the gutter, you know?
Right. I've said before that, like, you know, I don't really watch a lot of foreign films. So sometimes, or international films. So sometimes it takes me a minute to, like, you know, get up to speed on how they like shoot. This film is not like that. This film feels very Western. Which was an immediate surprise to me. For me, this feels like a very familiar style of film. And the movie starts off with a mysterious figure being released from jail. And he travels all across Asia, across Russia to get to London for what? We don't know. We see him go to this like meeting. I guess it's more like a convention where the keynote speaker is saying some of the most heinous, racist bullshit. I'm like, oh my God.
It is not only our right, but our duty to rule India. Without us, they will return to savagery, looting and killing one another. It is not only Africa, ladies and gentlemen, that is the white man's burden.
And then our main character pulls out a gun and shoots him. Bam! And he ain't done yet. He shoots him again. Blam, blam.
Bam, bam. Six times.
And then he turns his gun on the people on the stage. Blam, 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 blam. Like, it is abrupt and violent because before that, the movie was kind of quiet. This movie just starts with an explosion right there. And I'm like, wow, what the heck happened? Because of the style of the film, like I said, it feels very Western. Initially, it feels like we are getting like the inside look at some sort of a domestic terrorist or something. You're like, whoa, what is this? But then the movie flips and it's like, oh, you thought this dude was a terrorist, didn't you? Well, let me explain why he did it and who he shot. And as the film goes on, we learn who that heinous keynote speaker was, that he was some head honcho in the British Empire who literally throws away Indian lives like it ain't nothing.
Right. Arrest Gandhi.
Yes, sir.
No one should enter Punjab until further orders. Arrest all the college students, put them in a detention center.
We learned that our main character, he's mad, but he's more than mad. He is ready to start a revolution. And so what's really interesting is we learned that our main character, Siddhar Udham, he could have killed this guy a million times before A million times. But he didn't do it because he knew that if he just shot him in the library or shot him out hunting, people would be like, oh, this is a disgruntled worker. No, he knew he's got to make an example out of this guy. He's got to make a show out of it, you know. And it's like, wow, I found that to be just fascinating.
Just like he said to his general, the guy that he shot, he said, if these Indians are stepping up and stuff like that, you make an example to everyone. Make it as gruesome as you can.
Exactly.
In one spot. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to make it as gruesome and appalling as when I kill this guy.
Yeah.
And
he's like, guess what? I learned something from you. I learned something from you. I'm going to take your tactics and use them against you. I was like, damn.
The actor did a wonderful job playing his role. I felt the pain through his eyes. I felt the struggle that he was going. I mean, the struggle to not kill this dude.
The restraint.
the restraint. You know, he's arrested from. He's like, it's over. I killed him. And they came in, bun rushed, and handcuffed him. And then that's when we start going back and forth between the timelines. And in that courtroom, he is saying stuff like, "You are the ones who are the terrorists. You came into my country, killed my people, and for what? We are not free."
Udham Singh, do you plead guilty
I plead not guilty. Not guilty. Dwyer was guilty. You are guilty. Your policies are guilty.
I'll ask you one more time. Do you plead guilty?
I protested. I was fighting. Fighting for freedom. Freedom is my birthright, and fighting for freedom is no crime.
And here's the weird part about this thing. This is going on close to around Nazi Germany time. And then you have the British people who coming down on the Indians, and y'all are just as bad.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. They even have character. I guess they're characters like Winston Churchill, who of course are heroes to the West, but butchers in the East, monsters to India. And I just thought it was very interesting, you know. And we talked a lot about how these kind of things we don't learn a lot of this stuff in American history classes, not in our schools. And what's really interesting is in this film, they more or less said that a lot of this activity, especially the massacre that motivated our main character, a lot of this was hidden.
We need to control the press.
No matter what we do, there will be many who will see his actions as an act of revolution. So
when he has his outburst in court and he's like, "You guys are all monsters, you're the terrorists," the judge is like, to the press, strike all that. Don't ever repeat that.
You Britishers have plundered us, divided us, looted us, robbed us of all dignity, finished our economy.
That's enough.
Yes, that is enough. It is time for you to leave my country.
Under orders of the court, the press would not report on any statements made by the accused.
You know, and it's like, damn, just erasing history. Atrocious. Now, tonally, this is just a different universe from RRR.
For real.
This ain't nothing like RRR. The actions that happen in this film are truly monstrous. And the movie has a very dreary, dark, sad, gloomy feeling all through it. And at first, I was like, I don't know if I can get through this, because it feels... me not knowing the history, I'm like, it feels slow. I'm like, I don't know where we're going until that last scene where we see the actual massacre. And this movie shows or depicts the massacre in extreme graphic detail, and it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. Like,
I cried a little bit, dude. I cried a little bit.
Yeah, I was beside myself, man. I was like, oh my God. We talked about similar things when we see this extreme graphic imagery. We talked about that in Emancipation. How I hated it in Emancipation. But for this movie, I thought it was really effective. My issue with Emancipation was it was like that last scene, but for 2 hours, right? It just went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And it's like, oh my God, you just get numb to it. You know what I mean? And then when you get numb to seeing, you know, images like that, it feels offensive, right? You feel disgusted and dirty. This film has almost no blood until that last scene. Almost no violence until that last scene. And then when it happens, it just like punches you in the face so freaking hard. And it's like, what? And the movie keeps cutting back to this child who was shot and she's getting trampled. And it's like, and it's just horrific, just nightmares.
And these shots are like, not like a wound that you would see, like a little hole in someone's chest.
All right, these aren't movie gunshots.
This explode, like limbs blown off. Crazy stuff that's happened to women, children, and also their own Indian people are doing this to them too, because they're a part of the British soldiers also.
They talked about that too in RRR, how one of our characters worked for the British Empire, and you're like, he's a monster, but you learn that he's like working within them to like break away, steal their guns, all that stuff like that. All that stuff, man, it's super heavy, super serious. And I thought this movie was a really, really good film. I thought it's slow now. It's slow. This is a slow burn type of film.
That breaks me.
Yeah,
that breaks me a little bit because I was wondering where their pieces was going.
Me too.
I feel like when I'm watching a film, I'm like, why is this? Why are they going from 1919 and not finishing what they're talking about in 1919 to go to 1932 and then go back to 1927? You kind of jumped around so much that it really got me confused.
I think what you're feeling is there's a level of trust that needs to happen between the audience and the filmmaker. And I, like you, did not trust the film. I was like, does it know what it's doing? That it's bouncing around randomly throughout time? Does it know? Why would it do this? I don't understand what it's doing. And then by the end of the film, when all the pieces come together and you're like, oh, you know, it's like this film was under control. Like, this guy had it. I think if you were to watch this film again, which I will never do, a great film, but a terrible. There's something I don't like black pain movies. I don't like pain movies. I don't like agony movies. So I'll never watch this film again. But if you were to watch it again, I think you could really pick up a lot on its very interesting structure. Because you're right. Our main character dies in 1940, but the film starts in like 1919. And it bounces all throughout time in between there, with the Nazis rising, with the war, World War II rising up and ending. I think now that I have the whole film in my head, I can see that it was very well structured. But while you're in it, it does feel confusing.
All the actors did a wonderful job. I kind of felt weird about the cop, though. I felt weird about the cop because the cop was just like, because he was on his ass about the issues and everything. And then after he sees like he's not going to eat this food, I guess he's trying to feel sympathy or something for him and stuff like that. And he's like, what made you do it? And all this stuff. I just got to know. Right. And then he tries to shake his hand at the end. I'm like, get the hand out of here. That's funny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't want your handshake.
Like what happens is this guy, he's interrogating him. And of course, our main character's not saying shit because he's a hard ass. And he's stone cold, and they're literally torturing him. They're waterboarding him, and they're just doing all kind of atrocious, inhumane things to him. Yeah. And the interrogator's like, "Why do you hate the British so much?" And he's like, "I don't hate the British.
I don't hate you,
and I don't hate you. You're just doing your job." And I think the guy was like, "Oh shit, I really am doing my job. And what is my job now? It's my job to torture this man and get information, get information from him for what now?" And so I think he realized that he was on the wrong side. You know what I mean? He was trying to make amends by finally seeing our main character as a man, as a human. Deserving of dignity, deserving of rights. Yeah, I could tell the way the film was structured that you were supposed to feel some sort of sympathy for that guy. I didn't feel sympathy for him, but what I felt was like, our main character, Sardar Udam's message was so strong that if you just listen to it, even if you are British yourself, even if you're working for the freaking British Empire, if you just learn this story, you can see that he's not a monster man. He's not a terrorist. He is someone who is fighting for the most basic human rights.
Just be equal, because they kept saying equality. I can't have equality until my people are free. That's what he was saying.
Right.
I was like, that's why I was like, bar. Right. That's what I kept saying to my screen. I did, by the end, enjoy this film, but it is a gruesome, painstakingly depressing film to watch. I cringed to the fact that this was a true story based on true events, and it just hurts my soul to know that something like this happened that was covered up. But I feel like it's a renaissance that's happening where light is being shined upon the Indian community within these films, and in a positive manner like an RRR, but also in an educational manner like this film.
I think you gotta be careful. Is it really a renaissance, or is this a personal renaissance? I think that
I don't know.
I do. It's a personal thing. I think you gotta acknowledge. I'm certainly not acknowledging the fact that I didn't know about this, and I had access to all this information, and I could have found out about it at any point, but I didn't. So but it's very eye opening to see this kind of stuff.
Yes, I agree with you. It's very eye-opening to see this. I do have to take some points away because I'm still a stickler about how things are made. And I was feeling that it was pretty slow. I got to give this film a B+.
B+, yep. I'm giving this one a B+ as well. It's hard to say I like this movie because there's nothing to like, right? It's such a serious movie, and it's about such a dark and difficult topic. But I thought the film was well made. I thought, despite how scared I was in the beginning, I mean, this movie does the most heinous sin of all. It starts off with text on the screen.
Yeah, I saw that. I said, like, boy, Devin don't like this. I don't like it either.
I saw, and you know, after we watched the film, they really shouldn't have had that because we actually depicted everything they wrote in the screen anyway. So why was that there? But despite that, I thought the film was really well structured, even though it was confusing and strange initially. And this is a really, really good film, but it's a film I will never watch again. I'm glad I watched it. I think this was an important film. It's a film I don't think I will ever forget. And just like with RRR, I went down a rabbit hole learning more about this horrific tragedy. And you know, you can see the bullet holes still in the wall that are there. Like, it is just it is just incredible. I'll be honest, like I said before, this kind of movie is not my kind of movie. I don't like pain and agony movies. But that does not mean they don't have worth. And I am glad I saw this film. I think it's very well made, but I'll never watch it again because this was a it's very taxing. Taxing to think about this kind of topic, but it's important that you do.
Do you recommend people seeing this film?
Yes, you should watch this film because it's well made and because it's educational. But like I said, unless you are a sadistic sick fuck, you're not going to enjoy it, right? This is not that kind of a film. But because of how much I have learned about this tragedy, I think it's important that everyone should know this. So, yes.
I also recommend this film. I believe it's important for people to see. I would say watch it one time and then keep it in your memory bank and you know, appreciate it for what the film is and just move on to happy things.
Yeah, if you're a better person than I am and you can just watch this kind of stuff over and over again, you know, I'm sure you'll find all kinds of really interesting filmmaking things. And of course, our main character's acting is just incredible. But yeah, I say what you want. I don't like pain movies, so I can't watch it again. But I thought this was a beautifully made film.
More importantly, do you recommend this film? Have you seen this film? Get in the comments below and let us know. And that is our review for Sardar Udham. Hey, thank you for clicking on this video. We really do appreciate you. Hey, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button right down at the bottom, all right? And be a part of the family here at Mostly Wrong Opinions because we know you got an opinion and we know it's mostly wrong. But hey, if you did like the rating and review of this, hit that thumbs up. Or you can hit that thumbs down. Whichever you choose, it is your opinion. Just remember one thing. It's mostly wrong. See you in another film.